Now, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I am currently in my potato era, which basically means I want to eat potatoes in as many forms as possible, as frequently as possible. Like, I can't be the only one. Everyone loves a potato, am I right? Yes. So today, I'm going a little bit snazzy with my potato game, and I'm gonna make homemade gnocchi alla vodka. I'm very excited. Yes. Now, I feel like some people are gonna be like, homemade gnocchi, come on, Mary. You can just buy it in a pack at the grocery store. Super easy breezy. But homemade gnocchi, super easy to make, really delicious, and it kind of almost feels like little potato pillows in your mouth, and that is the best thing in the world. So we're gonna get into that, and I'm gonna show you how to make my super, super simple gnocchi. So right here, I have got some baking potatoes. Now, the first key when you are making gnocchi is you wanna use a starchy potato, something like a russet, one that you usually use, again, for a baked potato. They are drier, they're a little bit starchier, they're fluffier, they don't add as much moisture into the dough, so it makes it so you have to add less flour. More flour means chew, we want pillow. So starchy potato is perfect. Now, if you were to boil these, technically you could make gnocchi, but again, that adds more water. So I like to bake mine. So what I've done here is I've got 3 large baking potatoes. Essentially you want about 1 kilo. That's about 4 medium or 3 large. And I pop those into a 450-degree oven to bake off for about 45 minutes to an hour. You just want them to be nice and fork tender, and they will be perfect to go. Now, let them cool aside just until they're easy to handle. Not all the way, because you don't want that starch to gelatinize. So I'm just gonna split one of these potatoes open, nice and cool enough to handle. Just cut through that skin. Now, when you are making gnocchi, you obviously wanna get rid of that skin because that's not gonna break down into a nice dough. But again, you want a potato nice and starchy and beautiful. So just grab a spoon, open up your ricer, and basically what you do is just scoop out this inside flesh, almost like you're gonna make a potato skin. You want all of that beautiful, soft, fluffy potato flesh right on into that ricer. Obviously, the more you cook them, the easier they're gonna be to rice or mash, so that's perfect. Pop that in. You can tell it's starchy because it's really sticking on that spoon, which is a delight. Oh my gosh, also a russet potato. Just smells like a French fry. What a delight. Oh my gosh. So pop that into your ricer or just your bowl. And then you just wanna pass it through. Again, if you have a ricer, all you need to do, lift it up, and you're gonna just press it through, kinda like this. Wasn't that fun and weird? Kinda reminds me of when I used to play with Play-Doh, and usually it would come out this side, but this time it goes down that way. All right, just scrape that off. Now I've got that potato all into my bowl, and now I wanna make that into a dough. Now there's not a lot of flour in here, but the first thing I wanna add actually is some egg. So for egg, I need to use 2 yolks. I'm not gonna use the whole egg. The whites make them a little bit too tough. The yolks make them really nice and tender. They give a bit of richness. So I'm just gonna divide out the whites. I'm a back and forther from shell to shell. Some people are hands in, some people have fun gadgets, but you know, I like to play it a little dangerous, fast and loose, we got it. Gonna give that a little bit of a whisk up. And then just pour that over top of this potato mixture. Perfect. Now, even though those potatoes are warm, you can add that egg yolk in now because we're gonna work quickly. So give this a little bit of a toss just to start combining that. And now I'm gonna go in with my flour. So for the flour, I'm going in with all-purpose. All-purpose is perfect, makes for a nice light potato pillow dough, very, very tasty. I need 1 cup of that into this dough. Just scoop that on in, scatter it over top. That's gonna do kind of half the mixing for you. And then I just wanna season this up. I need about 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm going in with kosher salt. If you're using sea salt, I'd go in with a little bit less because sea salt's a little bit punchier than regular kosher salt. I'm going in with about 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. To be honest, if I'm making just a mashed potato, I don't put pepper in my mashed potatoes. I don't like the little specks, but in a gnocchi, I'll allow it, okay? All right, so about 1/4 teaspoon of that pepper. And then finally, you need something that just brings this to the next level. This is not 100% necessary, but I do love adding a little bit of nutmeg. Thank you. We already had some people in the audience calling it out. So if you don't keep your nutmeg in your pocket, keep it in your pantry, you know, you're good to go. But I love nutmeg. Freshly grated nutmeg gives you the most beautiful kind of lemony, warm flavor. It weirdly goes really nicely with potatoes. It sounds like it shouldn't, but it does. It just brings out this lovely flavor. Again, it makes it taste almost like fall, which is a perfect potato time. So that nutmeg goes in. Now I'm just gonna give this a mix up. I'm gonna switch over to a spatula. A wooden spoon works perfectly too. And you just wanna mix this into a lovely soft dough. Since we've got those potatoes in there, they have a little bit of moisture, but not too much. So in theory, this 1 cup of dough will come together, or 1 cup of flour rather, will come together into a beautiful soft dough. I'm gonna get in with my hand, and as you see, it starts to kind of form a beautiful, soft, pillowy dough. You smell that nutmeg. If you wanted to, you could add in herbs, that would be perfect. And now I'm gonna transfer some of this dough out onto a work surface. I'm gonna dust that with a little bit of flour because we don't want it to stick. And then I also wanna dust the place where I'm gonna land my gnocchi with a good amount of flour. So I'm gonna get about a 1/2 cup of flour and pop it onto a rimmed sheet pan. That's just gonna make sure none of these gnocchi stick onto there and they all end up in the pot. Because if I'm going to the trouble of making homemade gnocchi, I wanna eat all of that homemade gnocchi. All right, so just pop that down, give it a little bit of a roll, just into a nice log. And then, I don't know, I feel like some people are gonna get mad at me for this. Are you someone who thinks you need to do the fork roll on a gnocchi? Do we have everyone? Okay, we got a couple. Get ready to get mad at me, because I don't do the fork roll. I just chop little kind of potato dumplings. They're absolutely beautiful. If you wanna do the fork roll, obviously you can, but basically you wanna roll this until it's about, I'd say, 1/2 inch-ish thick rope. And then all I like to do, grab a bench scraper and just, and you have got some beautiful little potato gnocchi. I've got those here on a sheet pan with a good amount of flour down. That's gonna help them not stick. Now we're gonna come back to those gnocchi. They're gonna cook up really quick because it's kind of like a fresh pasta dough, absolutely delish. Now over here in this pan, I have got 3 tablespoons of delicious butter cooking down with a shallot in there. I've seasoned that up with some salt. You can add some pepper too. It's got a little bit of golden brown color on there. That's just gonna be excellent flavor. So into there, I'm gonna add in some garlic. And by some garlic, I mean 3 cloves of garlic, because that's how I like to do it. I love a big, punchy garlic flavor. That's the thing I love about gnocchi. It's delicious as is, but when you add in so much flavor, potatoes are just like best friends with so many flavors. So add that garlic right on in, give that a bit of a stir, and you just want that garlic to cook for about 30 seconds, just until it heats through. I like to say when you're cooking with onions or shallots and garlic, you do not want to put them in at the same time. Garlic burnt, not tasty. Shallots getting a little caramelized, totally tasty. So this is gonna be a dream. Now into that pan, I'm also gonna add in the tomato for this dish. Now, as opposed to using fresh tomatoes or even like a can of whole tomatoes, my favorite thing to do with a vodka sauce is a can of tomato paste. Somebody else has cooked this down. This is super concentrated tomato flavor. It's dark, it's rich, it's totally delish. All I gotta do is pop it in that pan, give it a stir, let it go for about a minute or two, just to cook off any of that kind of tinny flavor. But that is gonna bring so much tomato flavor in no time flat. This is one of my secrets. If I'm making chili on a weeknight, tomato paste makes it taste like you cooked it over a campfire, like you're a cowboy, for like, I don't know, 14 days or whatever. You got it. Give that a whisk in. Oh, that's a hot pan. Whoa. Okay, cool. You can really tell with the white countertops that we're getting a little splattery in here. All right, that is looking absolutely beautiful. Now that fat in that pan from that butter is gonna bring out really, really nice flavors in that tomato paste. It helps them bloom, it unlocks delicious flavors. The thing I like about vodka sauce though, is you add in other things. There's obviously some liquid from the tomatoes and from the pasta cooking liquid, but then eventually we're gonna add in some vodka, which brings even more tomato flavor. But first, we're gonna get working on those gnocchi. So I've got a pan of really, really vigorously boiling water here. I'm gonna add in a good amount of salt. Now, we're going in with some salt, but we wanna season it well, guys. You want it to taste kind of like the ocean. There you go, yeah. That salt mainly is gonna go down the drain, but it is gonna season that gnocchi as it cooks up. It's also gonna season that water, which is then gonna season the sauce. So it's gonna be absolutely beautiful, it's all gonna work out. But now I'm gonna add that gnocchi into that water. So just give it a little bit of a shake to make sure nothing's sticking. This is the only, I'm not even gonna call it a tricky part. You don't want too much of this flour getting in this water, but some of it is actually okay. So just give them kind of a gentle pickup, a little bit of a shake like you're playing Yahtzee, you know? And then pop those into that boiling water. Now, that additional amount of flour that's on the outside of these little potato gnocchi is going to starchen up I'm making that a word, this water, giving you even more of that beautiful pasta cooking liquid power. That's gonna just richen the sauce, make it kind of stick together beautifully. So just pop those little guys in. And when you are cooking gnocchi or any sort of fresh pasta, a lot of people say wait till they float. I go 1 minute past that. I don't know why. My husband's Baba, she told me that with her pierogi. And what is a gnocchi if not kind of sort of a potato dumpling? So I let them go 1 minute past. It makes sure the inside is cooked nicely. So just add those little guys in. We got, wait, what is it? Extra pillowy. My cameraman just said it. He heard me say potato pillows all morning. I've been talking about them constantly. All right, that's going on in. Then we've got that sauce cooking down. It's starting to get a little bit tacky, a little bit caramelized on the bottom of that pan. So I'm gonna give that a whisk. Already it smells out of control. This is going to be rich, deep tomato flavor. But again, like I said, tomatoes are interesting. They have a couple of different flavor profiles that come out when other things are introduced. So we've got the water in there from the tomatoes themselves. Then we've got the fat in there. Those flavors are gonna come up, but there's also alcohol-soluble flavors. So we've got our good friend vodka. I don't know if you've seen this since university or whatever, but it's a tasty thing for cooking. I'm gonna add about a 1/4 cup into here. It's gonna cook off really, really quickly, so just add that on in. If you are cooking with gas, turn that heat off. You do not wanna put this near open flame. Now, since I'm going with a little bit of electric heat, it's not gonna ignite unless that pan is screaming hot. We are not. But if you are a little bit nervous because you are adding alcohol in, my trick is put it into another container, then pour that in. Then also, it's gonna, lower the risk of a flare up. And again, if you are really nervous, turn the heat off, then put it in. We don't really want to flambe when we're making a vodka sauce because we like our eyebrows. We want to keep them where they are. All right, so as you can see, that vodka has cooked off. It takes really no time at all. You need about a minute or two just until it reduces down. The cool thing about vodka, though, or putting alcohol in your cooking, is it lifts the flavors up to your nose. Because alcohol evaporates quicker, so it almost lifts it into your face, giving you like a real punch with that delicious sauce, that tomato flavor. It's gonna be a dream. Now into there, we're gonna add in my good friend dairy. We have a PEI dairy farmer here right now, and I'm very excited. If you are in PEI, use that delicious PEI dairy. We are going with some good old classic Canadian whipping cream. I'm going in with 1/2 cup of this. That's the thing I love about vodka sauce. It's so rich and creamy. So just add that on in. This adds such a beautiful flavor into there. Give that a whisk. And that looks so good. You get that beautiful, almost like rosé pink color. Oh my gosh, I'm very excited about that. I'm going in with more cream, let's be honest here. We got a dairy farmer in the audience. I'm going in big, yeah. Oh my gosh, and as you can see, my gnocchi are starting to float to the surface. They're looking really, really nice. We're gonna get that continuing to go. Are we gonna, you know what, these are taking a second. I'm gonna go talk about basil. Let's go over here for a second. Okay. So sometimes you have to wait for the gnocchi, and that's okay. That's a good life. Now, over here, I have got my basil plant. If you still have a basil plant that's hanging out and you want to pick those leaves to make sure it gets nice and full still and it doesn't get all reedy, what I like to do is almost pinch the leaves off at kind of a joint. So right here, you see some couple little leaves. Give that a pinch just to get those off, and these little guys are gonna keep growing nice and bushy, and it's not gonna get all reedy and leggy. You know what I'm talking about? All right, okay. Honestly, that blew my mind when I figured that out. My basil plants were very happy. I'm gonna rip some of this into this beautiful sauce. Add that in. You can see that blippy, beautiful flavor. Toss that right into that sauce. I'm gonna go in with about 1/2 cup of Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, just for fun. Looking beautiful. And then using a spider or not a scary spider, this is called a spider, or some sort of mesh sieve, I'm just gonna scoop that gnocchi that's floating to the top right on into that sauce. Cook it in that beautiful bubbling situation. Oh, I'm very excited about this. Give that a little bit of a stir up. Oh my gosh. And you, my friends, have the most beautiful looking pan of food. Let's go give this a taste, shall we? Okay. I'm gonna pour some into my pan, maybe a little spoon. Mary, hold back that sauce. Look at those little potato pillows. They look so beautiful. They are covered in that sauce. You don't need to do the fork dimple to get all that sauce on your plate. Just pop those down. And then if you want, a little bit of fresh basil on top. And you, my friends, have got one heck of a dinner. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.